everyone. Welcome to FSP's Fun Speculation Podcast, episode number 83. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, it's been an interesting week for sure in gaming. A lot of Xbox conversations this past week, kind of rekindled by the one and only Destin Legary. I ended up doing a stream last night, so thanks to everybody who did tune into last night's Mavcast, where we kind of just broke down a lot of that stuff that's been going on. Other people have been talking about this stuff too. 3-Bit had a stream earlier today as well. I saw some of Boom's show this morning as well, where they're kind of talking a lot about this stuff, but honestly, it's like there's really not much more to say about that whole thing, right? It's like just somebody that works for IGN and games media is just going to always obviously have that take, and that's something that at the end of the day we're all going to have to deal with. And a part of the topic of this show is going to be how do we fix this, right? How what's the solutions to help and possibly fix the issues going on within the gaming media and how they have an impact on the games industry in maybe a negative way, or where they kind of manipulate what we're supposed to enjoy or the conversations and the perceptions of a lot of these games, right? So I kind of want to have that discussion today. So it's going to be a little bit different, but we'll also talk about some other stuff, some more conversation about the Game Awards, Killer Instinct, and also that's interesting 2K stuff. And then also we'll have tidbits later in the show. We look ahead at the games releasing this week. Is there any games releasing this week, guys?
There's a few.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a decent amount.
All right. Yeah, we'll have fun talking about that as well. But let's start with this panel. There's family here. Absolutely love you guys, and thanks for taking part in this every week. It's up to you first, 3-Bit. How you doing, bro?
Doing pretty good, man. Busy week. A lot of interesting conversations, of course, about the posts I did. I've had people come at me say that I'm angry. I've had some people say that
Was it another IGN employee did it to you like last time? Stop rage tweeting, 3-Bit.
Yeah, stop rage tweeting. I've gotten a couple where they were like, oh, your opinion is more important than other people's, and I've gotten some interesting ones. But the majority of the comments were really positive, and people just like, wow, I haven't seen that take before. So yeah, it brought me back to when I used to write journalism stuff for gaming, so that was fun.
Yeah.
But other than that,
very well
busy week.
Post that you made actually is just very well presented, right? That's a skill that you have.
Yep.
Another one that it's like insane. You're just annoying with how many different things you can do. But yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and I saw your Mavcast, and that was like pretty much like my exact thoughts. Like, if anyone wants to go see that, like, goodness, everything you said with Destin was like what I was thinking. So
yeah, it's good to have a conversation. Yeah. I felt like I was having a conversation with Destin where he can't talk back, which is how I like it. You know what I mean? It's like you just get to tell him how wrong you are constantly and not have any kind of rebuttal. It's great. Love it.
Yeah, great. We're glad to be here.
What's up, Jasper? How you doing, bro?
Doing pretty good. I finished all the zombie stuff for Modern Warfare 3, so I'm done with that now. And I just started playing Star Citizen. I was playing that before the show started, so I was jumping into that to see how that goes. Because I'm not going to be able to play games as much this week, so I was trying to get it all in this weekend.
Yeah. You were running us around in zombies last night like a maniac, man. I swear, playing games with Jasper it's not like playing a game. It's like rushing around and missing the game, but getting all the rewards. It's insane. Like we hopped in. We're going to tier 3 in zombies, tier 2, getting like all these schematics and guns and bonuses. You're just like, we just stayed in the damn car pretty much the whole time, and just Jasper drove us around, and we just got tons of stuff accomplished. Got like, I feel like 20 contracts done or bounties or whatever, per for a zombies run is absolutely insane. But then we're like, what's the point of having all of these things if we're not actually using any of them? And so it's like, it's interesting, right? But no,
It's to say that you have it and you did it.
I guess so. No, it's fun as hell running around with you, though, man. Thanks for carrying me and Kate last night in those, because we were able to do a lot. I will say the vault, guys. If you're doing the vault and zombies, like, don't waste your time. This is a disappointment. There's like no good loot in there. It's trash. So anyway, Fuzzy, how you doing, bro?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be here with you guys. And man, Twitter is I wouldn't say in disarray, but it's just, everybody wants to, call everybody talking about the Xbox tax crazy, but then not look at, clear signs of, the bias in all of this. But we'll get into that and a bunch of other things. But I'm time to talk about. I'm ready to talk about some games and some games coming out this week. So let's do this.
Yeah. So real quick, the one of the things that just got announced is the Killer Instinct update. It's actually happening tomorrow. So again, it's not a huge update. But they are updating the UI graphically. I don't know if it's just resolution, if they're doing more, because they didn't really show it off too much when they were breaking everything down. They focused on all the balance stuff they were doing. But there is a substantial play. If you care about the actual characters and the balancing and all that kind of stuff, it's a very substantial update hitting tomorrow for Killer Instinct, which is the first in like 5 years, right? So it's good to see. I already have it downloaded, so that way it'll update, so I can just check some stuff out. Mainly, I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with the UI to see if it makes it any better, because honestly, like, that's like the worst thing about Killer Instinct is the whole interface and like getting to the modes and stuff. It's like, it's just kind of like quirky and weird and like kind of, it's not hard to navigate, but just the style of it and the way it looks just makes it kind of annoying to go through. So like, but when you're in the game fighting is when it shines, right? So I'm gonna keep my eyes open tomorrow and check out that UI just to kind of see what it looks like. But anybody else here gonna play Killer Instinct after the update, or is it just kind of back of the mind thing? Oh, cool, they did that. Whatever.
Probably download it.
No, I think I'm good for a while.
You're good.
There's just too many other games I have to play.
Yeah.
I have to prioritize a little bit. 2023 is just too many awesome games. But what did they? So did they just change? Was it just different characters or different menus?
There's
like
19 characters that got like pretty substantial like changes, whether it's like nerfs or buffs or what they're calling births or whatever, but they like for example, they made, I think, Jago like 10% faster, right? And then they've like made his moves more powerful, so they do more damage. So this is more about the longevity of the game to kind of keep it up to where the make it more tournament friendly, I believe, to kind of try and balance out the characters to make the weaker characters more usable and the ones that were kind of OP, bring them down a peg, so they changed like how long some of the moves take, your ability to counter some of them, and all that kind of stuff with a lot of these different characters. So it's going to be interesting.
Who made these updates?
Iron Galaxy. So they got Xbox, the head of James Goddard, I think is his name, got with Iron Galaxy, and James Goddard, I think, is the like head of Killer Instinct over at Xbox or whatever. So he got with Iron Galaxy to do those updates. So I don't know how long they had, but they seem to really focus on like the core essence of gameplay for it, right? So not a whole lot of other bells and whistles there, but if it does reignite the like tournament and competition aspect for Killer Instinct, right, that can still do wonders for the game, right? So that's kind of what I'm hoping there.
Yeah, I mean, if I have time to check it out, like first, I I just bought Mortal Kombat, so I kind of
Oh, it's so good,
there's so
dude.
many games. Yes, I might play that
How much
first.
have you played of Mortal Kombat?
Like barely any.
Play through the
Barely any.
story, bro. Play through the story.
Yeah.
The story's really good. And then if you play single player a lot, like I'm not great, so I don't play online really, but like they have this invasions mode, so it kind of
Mm.
gives endless amounts of like single player content. It's really cool. So check that out.
Yeah, I can't
after.
wait till I have time to jump in. It's gonna be sick.
Something I got, guys, is Final Fantasy 16. I got it for Black Friday. I actually got my first physical game in a while.
Wow.
Yeah, it was on sale at GameStop, so I picked it up. And I've I can't really judge it yet because I'm like really early. But what I can say is, holy cinematics! Just like
Yeah, the first hour is like all cutscene, isn't it?
it's like pretty much it's worse than that. Like I don't necessarily mind if something's like all cutscene to start with, right? But it's like 20 minutes of cutscene, then you do something for like
You walk 4 feet,
30
get nudged.
seconds, right? And I had the same issue with Biomutant, right? Like
Mm.
Biomutant, it would do like this cutscene or do this like thing, and it would stop you, and then you'd have to like read all this stuff or have somebody talk to you, and you wouldn't let you progress, and then it would let you continue again. It's like Final Fantasy 16 is the same so far. I'm still really early on, so I can't really I go into too much depth. It seems like it's probably going to be pretty fun. I do like where the story kind of is going early on with the cinematics and stuff. Um, Gameplay for the tutorial, at least, is kind of where I was. Seemed kind of simple, you know. And I was a little bit disappointed in the character models and the graphics.
Yeah.
I figured there was not a reason to play this in performance mode
Is
because
it the faces or the hair or
it's
the
kind of
way
looked a
like
little
what?
bland. Like I've seen other like JRPGs recently from other companies, even like I feel like have better character model design and stuff. So, but you know, it is what it is. It's not going to kill it for me or anything like that. It's Final Fantasy. I kind of enjoy the stories, and this is more. I can 100% tell it's going to be an action game. You know, like it's not going to be a Final Fantasy game, right? It's a action game set in Final Fantasy universe.
Yeah. Final action.
Yeah. But you know, I love Final Fantasy, so I'm gonna play through it and have some fun with that. And then for the first time, also in a long time, I'll trade that shit in.
Oh,
Haven't
yeah.
done that in a
You can
while.
actually do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll trade it in. I'll take it to GameStop, see what I can get for it. You know, I don't know.
That is definitely a
$5,
pet
huh?
peeve of mine, like walking and then a cutscene and then the cutscene is done and then you walk again. Like that was very heavily a thing in Hideo Kojima games, but
Yeah.
I somewhat forgave him, but it was still really
Yeah.
annoying.
And it's the worst. Just like do all the actions. If you're gonna give me a long ass cutscene, don't have me move for like a minute in between them.
You go like
You
this
know,
and then all of a
it's
sudden
like just like get it all out of the way and then get me into the gameplay. You know, like let me do something substantial at least for a while.
yeah, instead of like walking straight for like
yeah.
5 seconds. That could just be a cutscene. That person walking like 5 inches and then another cutscene. Like that could have just been a cutscene.
Yeah, or at least start it
Yeah.
off with like a great action sequence and then do the big cutscene, right? That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And I think they tried to do that, but it was kind of like the opening thing they had wasn't really like a great action sequence. It's kind of like, okay, whatever. But anyway, also, I don't know if y'all guys heard this, but 2K is getting sued for their VC and based on NBA 2K. Yeah,
Oh.
it's finally happening. We've been
Wow.
I personally have been kind
Surprised it
of
didn't happen sooner.
I've been like
Is this just the EU or all around?
I don't know. I gotta find. I saw Steven Totillo posted earlier.
That's new to me.
Yeah,
It was this. I think it came out this morning.
Yeah, okay, so it's a new lawsuit against Take-Two over NBA 2K microtransactions. Focuses on the novel accusation of theft. The core issue: 2K won't let you transfer VC to new games, shuts old game servers fast, leaving players with unused VC. This is a thing that I feel like sports games have been the worst, right? It didn't start with 2K. It started actually with Ultimate Team and like Madden, FIFA, and all that kind of stuff. They really let shit get out of control there, and then the sports games community don't really speak up too much about it, right? So and the rest of the gaming community doesn't. The games media and all these people don't really pay attention to that side too much, right? So that's just kind of outside.
Literal slot machines in their games,
right? But when Battlefront tried to do loot boxes, it was like, holy shit, you can't do this, right? But then they're selling like $100 bundles of digital cards and Madden and stuff that you can't literally use in the next game, So it's like, people spend thousands and basically just throw money away in games. I've done it myself in these sports games in the past, right?
Yeah,
so,
me too. I'm not gonna lie.
So I was part of the problem. I've gotten away from it. I have, like, occasionally I'll find myself back into it because it's so addicting and fun and stuff. But like, it's just you regret it every single time. You know what I mean? And it's like I
for UFC. I don't know why.
Really, for UFC?
Yeah, I was just like, I just wanted all the stats like right away, and then I succumbed. I couldn't wait.
Right.
And I did the same thing with WWE. It's like the weird ones.
It's kind of weird though that like they're getting sued because there's plenty of other games and game companies that have done the exact same thing where you buy an in-game currency and then like a year later the game shuts down.
Right. But so here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, if this actually is a successful suit, it can impact all other games, right? So sometimes it takes just one game to, right, them pick, right, that may be the best chance of success, to cause the change throughout the industry. Now, I'll say any of these sports games or anything, if you buy virtual currency or you buy like Madden points or whatever, and you have left over, it should carry over with you to the next game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
or if it shuts
why
down,
not?
like that's a great point. Like, if the game shuts down, like what Jasper just said, like for example,
refund it.
bought VC
Some game companies
NBA.
will do that.
Yeah.
Like, but not all of them.
Yeah, not
It's not
2K though, but
standard.
like I bought VC in like NBA 2K, was it 14? I don't remember which one it was. And then I went back to go like play that character, and then the server shut down, so I couldn't play my character, and all the money I had spent on the VC was pretty much gone. I was like forced to do the next game, so like I would hope there's something to combat that, where you don't just lose everything,
And
at some point, they gotta go to like a season system, similar to like a Fortnite, where your virtual currency carries over, kind of deal. I mean, it would be nice if your character or like the skins and stuff that you buy for them carried over, but I don't know. Hopefully this makes them make those changes so something like that can happen. Although
That's so weird. That's going to be a tough lawsuit, I think, though, for whoever's suing them, because like you could just argue like they know what they're buying up front and they know the risk of it, so it's like.
but like
I think the
you do
drawback
that?
would be.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was going to say the drawback is like the big thing with virtual currency. What's the difference between virtual currency that you buy during 2K21 versus 2K22? They don't call it VC for 21 or VC for 22. It should just be VC, and then that in itself should carry over no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if you buy it in 21, you should be able to use it in 23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was a lawyer, I would ask, what happens when the next year comes out? Like, what happens to the other game? Like two games after, does it shut down? And then they would have to say yes. So
ultimately, like, if the more light that gets shown on these kind of things is better for the consumers, right? So I'm hoping that if nothing else, stuff comes from this, and it's like makes them look really bad to make these changes, And the sports games for me are kind of some of the worst because they're literally pay to win, right? Like, and it's in a competitive type game. Like you literally, people that play shooters will not tolerate that kind of stuff. People that play, like any fighting games and stuff will not tolerate
It's
that
just
kind
the
of stuff,
fucking
you know?
sports community. They all have an addiction to the game, and like
Yes.
they're afraid to say it. It's like it's almost
Yeah.
like a gambling addiction. Like when it comes
So
to sports games,
you
the people that buy into that stuff, like they actually have a problem.
yeah, and a lot of them will like, well, but a worse team can still beat a better team, you know, if you're good, you know. So it's like the get good mentality is also really kind of in there, but like it literally in like 2K, especially with the my court mode or what I think it's called my court, where you go into the city and you know you go and you ball with people and like you know you do like 5-on-5 or street ball stuff or you know you do tournaments, all these different things like in that mode. Like literally, if you are a generic character and you start like without putting a lot of upgrades to your guy, there's no
You
point.
get jumped on the court. Oh,
Well, like you first off, like if you go and stand in a little square to try and team up with people, like there'll be like two people wait. Let's say there's two people waiting in that game, right?
you get picked last.
And then you go and you sit and you stand next to them, like oh, I'm the third, and let's say they're waiting for 5. You step in there as like a level 60, right? Those two motherfuckers are backing themselves out because they don't want to play with you because they know that your character literally can't hardly do anything on the damn court, you know. So like most of the people now they buy the $100 bundle because it comes with another PC to maybe get your guy like to an 85. You know what I mean?
Yeah, decent enough to get by.
Right, where you can start there and you're like, okay, and then within a couple weeks, or you can see the people that really spent a lot of money to get their characters as high up as possible, and then you have to grind to max them out. You know what I mean? But like,
Mhm.
Madden's kind of the same way with Ultimate Team. Like, you know, there's new cards every week, and the devalues the cards that you may have already bought, or bought bundles for. They have in the past. I'm pretty sure they still do like certain cards that are only available in packs or bundles. Some of them, and then in the auction house, they literally may cost millions to get. So like, you want that card. So sometimes a lot of people like, I'm gonna buy a bundle and hope I get that card that's going to be worth millions of currency or whatever, you know. And then hopefully either I keep the card because it's badass, or I sell it and make an amazing team or whatever, you know, like all those kind of aspects. And you play online, it makes a huge impact, right? You can still have a worse team and beat a better team, but there's certain times when it's like that it's a clear advantage. And I this is, you can call me conspiracy theorist or whatever, but I played a
Yeah, we
lot.
already are.
I played a lot of yeah, I played a lot of Ultimate Team back in the day, right? I've had a feeling in the past that there's some kind of system they have in place to where they make the new cards like with a week or two they come out for a little while, play extra like better, and then like once you've had that card for a while, they kind of like stop playing as good to make you feel like you need to improve upon the position. You know what I mean? Like, and that would take some kind of mechanics in the background, like some really crazy shit if they were doing that. But it had literally has seemed that way in the past. I don't know if there's anybody that's played Ultimate Team like that in the past that kind of knows what I'm talking about. But that'd be almost criminal if they were doing that. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
They would have to get if they would have to get like someone who actually understands those different situations to be like, this is what actually happens. This is what happens when the game shuts down. Your thing doesn't carry over. Like they would have to get someone who's actually knowledgeable of that stuff
Yeah.
to fight this case. Otherwise, you know, the other side can easily win. Like, oh, we have a license agreement where people sign and they play the game and it's fine. You know, they could easily do that as well. So
Yeah.
it's going to take someone who's kind of knowledgeable, but like, well, this is what actually happens. What when I buy the VC doesn't carry over.
Yeah.
I don't know what the merits of the case, like what specifically they're suing for. If it is just the microtransactions and the shadiness, or how.
I
the
just
merits
like
of
the people that play those sports games. Like, honestly, I don't see how they have not taken a stand. Like, why we're getting fucked every year. We're losing all our shit every year. It's like, just stop buying the game.
Man, that was me for 20 years. Like, I honestly, like, I love them, right? But I've played less the last couple years, you know? Like, I haven't bought, this is like the first year I think I haven't bought an NBA 2K. right?
Mm.
And like I'm talking about since its existence back on the Dreamcast when it first came out. And I kind of has started kind of getting away with it because it has become so redundant. Like but there's also so many other great games to play these days now too. But like I was, Halo, Call of Duty, Madden, 2K, and then other games, right?
But it's weird because like the people that play those games then complain about the things that they don't like about it, but then they buy it the next
But
fucking
it's
year.
like the Call of Duty community, right? Same thing with
Yeah.
Call of Duty. Yeah, you
You're
buy.
not getting as fucked as hard.
I actually
Yeah.
agree with that. I do, but it's the same like thing. Like regardless, you're still looking forward to that Call of Duty every year. But at the end of the day, it's still Call of Duty. Like there's slight tweaks and changes or slight improvements here and there. Like some of the modes may be
Madden,
different.
they be taking stuff away, and they're like they gift wrap it and they spit
Madden,
it.
they
And
don't
like,
even
here you
change
go.
anything. You play the next game and it has the fucking last year's logos on the bitch.
I know,
Has happened
I
in the
know.
past too.
Yeah.
They are literally doing the
I
same.
I feel
game.
like you do have to play those games a lot to notice the changes,
Mhm.
and
But even the changes they've done a Madden at some
Right.
point where it had a lot of those changes, and then they took it out the next year. They wait like 5 years later. They're like, "Here you go, brand new," even though it was
Yeah.
introduced like 5 Maddens ago.
and I'll still stand behind this. The most fully featured, well built football game ever made was made in 2005 or
Yeah.
2004 actually.
The college ones are always the best because they actually
those are great.
experimented with shit.
Yeah, well, if college was always fun, because they had the option. It was based on like option, and your quarterbacks could really run and stuff a lot. But like as far as like football, is the ESPN NFL 2K5, like the stuff they did in that game, there's still never been a football game that has done the stuff that they've done in that game.
I would love some more RPG elements in like football. Like if you're going to college, like I don't know, you have mini glasses or you're like managing which teams you want to go for and then the stats of it. Like I would love to see more of that, which the ESPN version started to kind of do like little aspects of that, but I feel like with new iterations of Madden, they have no competition to push them to be able to want to do those features anymore.
Well,
like
the My Team, the Ultimate Team, and like the My Court and those modes have made them so much money that's where all the focus goes now. Like the
Mhm.
focus hasn't gone towards the career and the franchise modes and all that stuff like it used to be, which was all of my favorite stuff. But like the moneymaker for them is like the online components, and even that, the ones that have not been the most successful in making money, they'd steer away from towards other modes and stuff. So, but
it's a shame.
Yeah, it is. I kind of want a big overhaul with sports games. They've been like sports. There really should be a platform. Like
Yeah.
and then update every year and stuff like that.
You lose your sales every year.
Yep, and they sell so damn much. It's
Because it's pretty much just a roster update, so you might as well make Madden and then do like a live service thing where like get this year's DLC or something for this roster, and then maybe do extra modes over time and improve it. And then like I remember when EA had competition, like they were just making NBA Live for years, and then there was no
Mhm.
other competition. And then eventually 2K was like, "Hey, we're gonna make our version." With 2K, so you had Live versus 2K, and then 2K just kept implementing better features, and then in comparisons, like, wow, 2K is actually offering more, and now 2K is pretty much it burned NBA Live. There is no more NBA Live.
It killed EA so much that they decided it wasn't worth them making the game anymore, right?
Yeah, they're like, yeah, they tried 1 year. I think they came back like I forgot which year it was, like 18,
It was
17.
19 or something. 18 or
19.
There
19.
was like a 3 or 4 year period where they kept trying to make it come back, and they kept delaying or doing different things because they were trying to rebuild. They even actually, at the time, had brought the guy, forget his name, from 2K over to design that NBA Live, and they were doing big promos and stuff with like this new thumbstick control like maneuver and all these kind of things to really push it forward. And then that game was just horrible. It was absolutely trash. And
Yeah.
then once that came out, they were like, okay, well, this was our big attempt. And then 2K brought the guy back over to Visual Concepts and stuff, and they just took over from there. So
Yeah, they gave up. EA was like, "Ooh, this is kind of hard."
yeah,
And then they're
so
like, "Yeah."
you know they still dominate with football because it's the only option, you know. But
Well, that's feel like
Well,
that's
part
why
of
they're
that is the
so
license
intingent
holder.
upon. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. The license is. I feel like they're so contingent about that license because of that reason. Like if someone else jumps in and does the
I
same
mean, there's
thing,
other like football games, but they're just not as good.
there's
well, they
not
can't do.
NFL licensed sim football.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, they
what's
can't do
popular.
STEM football.
Like
Yeah.
like 2K actually tried to make a comeback back in 2008. Because they didn't have the NFL license, what they did is they went and got a bunch of player licenses, individual player licenses for Legends and stuff, and they came out with All Pro Football 2K8, which is another fucking amazing game, right? Another amazing game, but it didn't sell. And it was probably so expensive for them to get all those individual licenses for the amount of sales that they got, but nobody wanted to play as like the Silverados or whatever the fuck names they came up with. You know what I mean? Like, even though this was
Yeah.
still the players, it just wasn't the same. Like, the thing about these sports games is like it's for these sports diehards, and we care about the teams. You know what I mean? Like, we care about the teams. We want that battle against the Cowboys versus Eagles or whatever, and we want the current players that are playing today. You know what I mean? And like, it matters a lot to have that.
I almost wonder if somebody was to be like a market disruptor and come up with all the foundation of the football of the NFL without the license, without the player names, but have it where you can name your individual players, you know, import a likeness of an individual player, and then just have it where it's, American football 2024. And if, the community wants to make the Eagles or wants to make the Cowboys and the logos, you can import that as like, just like what you do in Forza with the skins for the car, have it where you do it that way. I think that would be the workaround, but then the drawback is
Might get some
you would
lawsuits.
have to avoid having like an online component of, like the My Teams and all that stuff, because you still couldn't use probably any of that as far as for the online, but for like head to head, you probably could without any problem, because there's no real licensing infringement if I go in Forza and make like a NASCAR paint scheme, even though they don't have the NASCAR license type of thing. So
Yeah.
I think that would be the way to go. But who's going to invest all those millions of dollars for something that might work if the community, takes a hold of it? And like, it was the biggest thing I think that could have probably worked with a boxing game, because if you can create a character that looks like Tyson or looks like Lomachenko or something along those lines without necessarily having the licensing, I think people would probably be happy enough with it and gravitate to it. And then the actual individual athletes might be willing to say, "Hey, yeah, I'll sign a deal to get my license in there as long as I get a percent of each download or each DLC that's bought or something like that type of thing."
It's weird that they haven't come back to boxing. They chose to focus on UFC
It's
instead.
just
But
so much more popular, man. Like,
Yeah, boxing died like in the 90s.
yeah, but every time they have a match with like Logan Paul or somebody, then it gets like a
because
bunch
it's
of money.
just gimmicky celebrity shit
Yeah,
now.
it's
It's
stupid
like,
influencer shit.
yeah, it's like the second that Mike Tyson bit that ear, man, it's like boxing was dead. It's like it was over from that moment on, pretty much.
It sucks.
It
I
is
mean,
What about,
making,
like-
boxing is
it is
still
making
popular.
a little bit
It's
of a comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? Undisputed is in the works right now as far as early access on PC. It's probably going to be at least a year out before it comes to console. They're going to have their career mode. They had to delay it, so it's going to be sometime next year. But overall, they have a decent amount of licensed fighters, but I think their big thing is going to be for more of the licensed fighters that people want as far as the modern era, or for more so for like the heavyweight roster. They're probably going to have to pay like $10 or $20 for each individual fighter. So if you want Tyson in the game, that's great. You can either make him as your create a character kind of thing, or get the official Tyson, early career, mid career, late career, for like $20, and they'll have it in the game kind of thing. Or at least I'm figuring what they're going to do by the time they come to console. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird because like UFC kind of took a lot of that attention for like actual like fighting stuff, but if you wanted entertainment, you just go and watch like WWE. So it's like I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like boxing got kind of shoved in that middle ground where it's like it's not like super fighting, but it's also just like it's not super entertaining either. So it's just like
I feel like you get someone like Floyd Mayweather where his boxing style is so boring to watch. Like in a way, it's exciting because he has pretty good technique, but most of the time he's just running away, and then like runs away. Yeah, I can see how that's kind of
he just lands these little things. It's like, yeah, cool, that's not doing shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, you're getting points for it. I got you. Cool.
Yeah, he was very intentional about those points, and I don't know if it was always like that in boxing. I feel like it's really about knocking someone out. Jab, run, jab, run. That's kind of boring to watch.
Slip to jab.
But he was the best at jabbing and running, though. Yeah, I could say that. Very good, and he didn't lose once that I could think of.
Yeah, he's freaking amazing. I mean, super amazing technical master of the craft. You know what I mean? It's just like you really don't get better than that. Like it's just insane. I appreciate it, but it is not exciting to watch for me.
Yeah, to watch
as a casual fan.
I can appreciate it.
A super boxing enthusiast, I might be, oh my god, look at that, he's incredible. But for me, I'm like, I want to see guys get fucked up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I want to see like guys beat the shit out of each other and like see which guy comes out on top. Like so. Yeah.
That's where the UFC kind of took off from there.
That's where UFC. Exactly. You want to see that, then?
And I'm not an enthusiast of boxing, but I just remember those days of like Tyson versus whoever, or like, and it was just like, how fast is Tyson gonna knock this motherfucker out, right? Like, and that was kind of
90 seconds.
Yeah, it was just fun to watch that, because once he got in close, it was over, like. For a lot of those guys, it's fun to watch. But anyway, we'll move on past that conversation. Actually, 2024 is gonna be a little bit interesting. I feel like because it is gonna be a year of hardware. So I want to kind of combine this into the Game Awards a little bit. Like there was a hardware announcement before at the Game Awards with the Xbox Series X, right? Is there any kind of possibility that the Switch 2, or you could see like that discless Xbox Series X get announced there? Or I guess it's too early probably for the PS5 Pro because the Slim just came out. Or when do we think we'll see these things?
I think Nintendo's too greedy to announce it at the Game Awards. If anyone, I think Xbox could do the new Xbox digital just because it's kind of been leaked, so they may want to get that message straight, but I still don't think they do it. Honestly, I don't think we see any hardware announcements. Nintendo's going to want to do their own thing.
Yeah.
They may show games, but
yeah,
fair enough.
That's a good one.
I just don't know if anybody would took a page from Microsoft's book, you know what I mean? Or maybe Microsoft takes a page from their own book and does the discless Xbox there or something. It depends on, I guess, when that's coming out.
Also, with the discless thing, people like when you mention a console that doesn't have a fucking disk drive, the internet goes fucking insane.
Yeah, that's true. It's like almost a negative, or people make it into a negative. That's true. That was actually used for that conversation. Like, the discless thing went around the internet when it was just part of a leak. You know what I mean? It wasn't even officially announced yet. But literally, like, they already both have discless consoles. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like,
no, only the Xbox has one.
Because PlayStation's an option.
PlayStation is an option.
Right.
That's the headline.
Yet, 80+% of gamers buy digitally. So it is what it is.
Yeah, like I don't like That argument is so weird to me because like it kind of just reminds me of the sentiment. I kind of talked about this on my stream where things that Xbox One did back in the day are modern day um expectations. Like some of the things they were announcing during the Xbox One are like expected in modern day products. So it's if like with digital games, I haven't bought a physical game in so long. It's convenient for me to just go through my library and press play on a game rather than get up and put in a different disc. I know it sounds lazy, but like I'm sure the statistics of like 80% or 70% people buying digital games. And the thing is, when you start to figure out like the sales of these games, um, you have these different box retail outlets that they keep tracking physical data, but that's not really cognizant of what's happening in the overall gaming industry. Most games are digital sales, so it's like kind of, I don't know, it's kind of irrelevant to me whenever they show like physical box sales in like the UK. I'm just like, sure,
Well,
that's
that's the only thing they
impressive.
can track because digital's like all.
I know, but it's not really representative of what's actually happening. I feel like um where you can actually maybe track it is maybe Steam's numbers, but for the most part, like digital is more representative of what people are doing nowadays rather than physical. It's just the way we are adapting as a society where we're more tech savvy, where people get faster internet connections and people are getting better technology. It is what it is.
I mean, I think like Game Pass skews that even more too. I think, you know what I mean, because it's
Yep.
like, well, now you don't even have to buy, so it's like you're gonna go. You're obviously digital if you're in Game Pass. There's no like physical option there, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
There's
there's
no Game Pass store you go to like, oh, let me get that one off the shelf.
yeah.
It's all
So either you're
digital.
subscribing to your game, you're buying it digital, or a smaller percentage is buying physical. You know, I think Nintendo obviously has the largest amount of people that still buy physical because those games just don't lose their value. I mean, that's probably pretty smart actually if you still buy physical on Nintendo, to be honest. But like even me, I don't like to. I like to buy digital, even there when I buy something. But it's interesting to see what's gonna happen. I feel like it would be. I guess it would be a little. Would it be early? Like, what do y'all think
What?
these consoles are dropping?
Well, didn't
As
the
far as
Xbox? The Xbox said it was like what, August or whatever for the Series X.
Yeah, they won't announce it till like 2 or 3 months before.
They won't announce it till probably
Yeah.
E3.
Right. And then PS5 just came out with the Slim, right? So they're not
Yeah.
going to do anything right now. That'd be crazy.
They'll probably
you
do
know?
it next holiday, if anything, or early 26.
But that leaves the Switch. I think they were rumored to be launching theirs around is sometime between like May and August, I think, or something like that.
I think that just kind of came because that's when the first Switch came out, was early. I don't know if like there's official like.
Can't remember what the there was some insider stuff. But I don't remember what the rumor was about it. I think the original one was April, but I think that got pushed back to like potentially like August or something now. So I guess even that would be too soon. But it's gonna be interesting next year, being kind of a year of hardware. Regardless, like it's gonna be new stuff in the marketplace.
Yeah.
We're kind of gonna mix things up a little bit. But do we have any other like? Keeley did a thing, a stream, his kind of Q&A that he does, like, or informational thing he does before the Game Awards every year.
Oh, you did
And
one?
yeah, he did one yesterday, and I didn't watch it, but I kind of got like saw some articles that kind of broke down some of the stuff that he said. First up, he's beefing up security supposedly. So you don't have any weird people running on stage. No Bill
No more
Clinton
Clinton.
scenarios or whatever.
Dang, I'll try to sneak up this year.
Yeah, you'd have,
Dang.
you would have been internet famous for a whole 5 minutes.
How fast do you think
He's
they
gonna
are? I'll
bring
just
the
go like
real
this.
Bill Clinton on stage to announce an award.
What if I parachute? They're not thinking about that. That's what I'll do. I'll parachute in.
Parachute into the roofed stadium
Yeah,
arena.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you're just
climb
like,
up into the
I
rafters.
didn't think this
Bungee.
through. I'm on the roof.
Oh shoot!
What am I gonna do?
Okay, so now that I think about
Then
it,
you gotta
laser
parachute with the
cut.
backpack. Yeah, I was gonna say laser cut, get a rope, and then rappel down, like Mission
Yeah, there you
Impossible
go.
style.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is he gonna
Now we're
sneak in
thinking.
through an air duct?
Like this. Yeah, I'll be ready. All right, you guys give
Dun,
me
dun.
good plan. So I'll need a laser cutter. I'll need some rope. I'm good to go. To parachute.
If we
Need a plane?
if we are watching the Game Awards and we see some idiot rappelling from the ceiling to get down on the stage, I'm gonna blame you, 3-bit. I'm just saying.
He's watching this like, oh yeah, that's great. Great ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing a Bill Clinton
Imagine.
mask as he's rappelling down.
You can't stop me this year. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Oh man.
So one of the other things he said was they're kind of doing away with the Words World premieres. I think some people kind of took that as like there's not going to be any world premieres at the Game Awards, but they kind of want to have the announcements and the game trailers kind of like be of equal measure, kind of, so that like this trailer from this game isn't less than one that says world premiere in front of it or whatever. So, but do y'all think they're gonna have some big stuff this year? Like, or I mean, for me, I would think so, just because this Game Awards is going to be the most watched ever, right? I mean, by far.
Yeah, each
So-
year it grows. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's definitely gonna be a thing. I do think they're gonna have some announcements here for sure. I'm just wondering. I mean, what PlayStation probably
Does
won't be here.
PlayStation use this
Um,
as their showcase since they didn't have one this year?
I think they have Kojima show Death
I
Stranding
mean, they
too.
had one, but that shit didn't count. I'm just saying that was trash. Like they didn't that showcase they had this year. I will not personally accept as a PlayStation showcase.
That was
Hey, they showed
a
hardware.
sneeze. Yeah, they did show. So
That was a,
I
that was
don't
a,
know.
that was a,
Portal.
that was a turd, man. That was just a turd. Jim Ryan took a shit before he left. You know, that's what that was.
That was a sneeze. They need they're like, oh, oh, sorry.
You want to
This
see
is
what
that
I've been working on? Oh, I'll leave it in the toilet for you, motherfuckers. I'm out. Bye. You know, no,
Deuces.
Deuces. Deuces.
Jesus.
I left a double decker for you too.
Yeah.
No, like
I mean, do you guys think they'll be there? I honestly think they don't have anything. I mean, maybe what is the thing they might show? A trailer to Last of Us, some of the game modes, or Helldivers 2, maybe.
what I'm hoping,
but more gameplay.
So one game that's supposed to come out next year, that they said 2024 when it was announced, was Rise of the Ronin.
Uh-huh.
It's Sony
okay.
published. It's made by Team Ninja, and I'm personally actually looking forward to this game. Like, it's probably going to be awesome, and we haven't seen anything from it. So, like, a game like that would be pretty cool to see, right? The one thing, other game they could show was Stellar Blade. It was missing from their showcases this year.
It was supposed to be this year too, I think.
Yeah,
so.
it was originally supposed to be this year. They could also market Helldivers 2 again because it's the next game they have coming, I think.
The Last of Us remake comes out in January.
God, if we see Troy Baker on stage again talking about that.
Let me show you guys the next piece of concept art for Last of Us Faction.
Oh my God.
We spent a year and a half developing this one piece of art.
If they
just
hold
so
up a piece of paper holding concept art for factions, they might as well just light it on fire while they're on stage, bro, because that's just what happened to it. I would like to
Honestly,
see
if I
somebody
was them, I would do it.
Bungie walk up and grab the concept art, wad it up, and throw it away, and then walk back off
they're
the
going to
stage.
grab the Community Games Award.
I would actually do that. If I was them, that's exactly I would. If I was Sony and I'm like, oh, I actually have gameplay of factions in my back belt, what I would do is I would go on stage with the concept art again and then be like, but this time we got gameplay or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if I was down, I'd be like, it's available now, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Rise of Ronin, that's pretty good. I forgot about that game. And like Helldivers 2, I feel like if we're talking about each platform, what they're gonna
Yeah,
possibly is that how we should approach this?
let's do it. PlayStation. What are they going to show? 3-bit.
Helldivers 2, Rise of the Ronin, maybe, and possibly a trailer since that's coming up pretty soon, and they want to get people ready for the award season. They're already thinking about adding a category for the Game Awards to have Best Remaster. Bro. Anyways,
the
Last of Us.
PlayStation thing's kind of interesting because, like, do they show Helldivers 2 and The Last of Us remakes because they've already kind of shown that stuff? Or do they show stuff that they haven't shown? Like, do they actually show Concord? Do they actually show Rise of the Ronin? Do they actually show Stellar Blade again? Because those are farther out. And they're bigger than Helldivers and stuff.
Yeah, or they could announce a brand new game like that we never heard of. You know, like, I mean, they've done that before at the Game Awards too. Like, you don't know what to expect from these things, right? We've had Game Awards where they've had like no big announcements. We've had Game Awards where it's like, holy shit, like Elden Ring was originally teased there, you know. Like Hellblade 2 from Xbox was shown there for the first time. Like Perfect Dark was
Series
announced
X.
there. Yeah, Series X. Like it could be like I don't know, man. Like could be anything under the sun, right? Like PlayStation, I feel like has some games for 2024, but they don't have like anything exciting right now for a lot of the fans. So I was in the mind that maybe they're holding back for the PS5 Pro announcement to show some of that stuff, but like, or maybe they use this to show something.
I got a theory on the PS5 Pro. It comes out when Last of Us 2 hits PC, and that's probably going to be June. So expect that for summer. I don't think it makes an appearance here. I think it makes an appearance in the showcase next year. But for PlayStation, I would like to see Rise of the Ronin, but I think they just go with Stellar Blade and Death Stranding 2. I think those are the only two things that are PlayStation.
Maybe an earbud commercial.
An earbud commercial. You know what? It wouldn't surprise me, but I think it's just those two games for them. I think on Xbox's side, we see a 15 to 30 second glimpse of some combat for Hellblade 2 with a date for the developer direct in January or February. I think we get actual gameplay or a vertical slice of Perfect Dark. And maybe one other surprise. I have no idea what that surprise would be. I'm kind of hoping it's was it Project Shaolin, the Wu-Tang game? But we'll see on that one. Nintendo, they don't need the Game Awards to show the Switch 2, and I don't know if they want to show the Switch 2 that close to the holidays.
And they probably won't show any big announcements before they announce the Switch 2, right?
Yeah, like the Switch 2 is going to be something that after the holidays, like after everybody's already spent the money putting gifts under their tree or however they celebrate the holidays. I think that's when sometime after that.
The thing with Nintendo though is like they could have like Mario Odyssey 2. They could announce this here and just say 24, and that shit could come out in March with the Switch 2. They just don't announce. They just don't say Switch 2. They just say Mario Odyssey 24, and then.
God, I hope it's not that.
I mean, that was a big.
Now,
game.
would they have it as like the pre-order shows up on the regular Switch page, and then they eventually?
Yeah, because it will be cross-gen or whatever.
Will it carry over, or is it going to be two separate SKUs? That's the big question. But I kind of agree with you on the Nintendo thing. Like, I don't see them needing the Game Awards. And it's the same thing with like GTA 6. I don't think they need the Game Awards. Like, those are things that will outshine the Game Awards on their worst day as far as visibility. They could put it on YouTube or they could put it on TikTok and it would have more views in a second.
We will get something from GTA in December.
Yeah.
That's already kind of confirmed, right? But we don't know when, so that's what has led to that speculation,
Yeah. They usually try to avoid even E3s back in the day. Like that's always been their thing. Like let's do our own sort of show. So I don't think they'll be there.
I like your Xbox predictions though, Fuzz, with Hellblade 2 stuff and Perfect Dark, and maybe one other thing. They were absent from last year's Game Awards. I don't think they necessarily have to be at the Game Awards. Like I felt like last year they should have at that time because of the 2022 that they were having at the time. I felt like it would have done some good for them, right? And then but then they had a Dev Direct, so it ended up really not mattering too much. But it made the Game Awards less exciting to watch for Xbox fans. That's for sure.
I mean, the guarantee Xbox thing is at least a Game Pass sizzle reel thing.
Yeah, you'll
We
get
have to think about
marketing for
Phil's
Game Pass for sure.
what Phil went through at the last Game Awards, where he was just sitting there,
Yeah.
watching every Sony game.
Imagine he wears a shirt with his face on it from last year.
It would be amazing
And-
if Xbox just fucking took over the Game Awards, just like
Yes,
so
that's
many
what I'm saying.
trailers and like huge announcements and shit, and everybody's like, "What the fuck did we just see?" Like
Baldur's Gate 3 is in Game Pass, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're gonna have one of those things. Like, the Game of the Year that just won.
yeah.
That's in Game Pass, by the way. That's what I would do. That's
people were
my
saying, like, I don't know if it's true or not. People were like always saying Baldur's Gate 3 is supposed to drop on the 6th. So like they could have a trailer there for Baldur's Gate and be like, it's in Game Pass now. Download it after the show.
That would be
Right,
huge.
but if they do it, that needs to be right in the break, right before they win Game of the Year.
That would be so funny to me. Be like, oh, no Starfield in Game of the Year. That's fine. That's fine. At least we got Baldur's Gate 3 on Game Pass. That to me would just be a funny way to go around the media. It's like, yeah, you guys voted for our Game Pass game. I don't know. So I have a feeling, like, just based on that, maybe that's just me, the petty side of me, where I can see Phil just seeing his sentiment last year of PlayStation win every single award, and it'd be like, okay, next year I'm gonna actually have a lot to show, and it could be that, or it could just be like, well, we don't really have to show much. This was a crazy year, so
Matt,
go either way.
Matt Booty and Phil mentioned, or Matt Booty, I think, had mentioned the Game Awards when he's running down of other events that are happening where they have a chance to show things. Also, Phil in an interview said they're going to have to take advantage of more things because they have so many damn games to show, right? So just in the sheer opportunity that it is a showcase, with the amount of games they have, leads me to believe they will probably have stuff at this show.
Yeah.
But see, like that if with that, it's kind of making me think they show smaller stuff because they would want to save their bigger stuff for themselves, right? Like,
Not necessarily.
they have so much stuff.
But
Like,
it depends on who are you trying to like? Are you trying to just celebrate with your own fan base? Or are you trying to let other people that aren't interested in Xbox know that this badass thing is on your system, right? Like in your ecosystem. Like I've kind of always been of the mind that, like, if you got a home run, like, show it at the Game Awards, because that's the most watched game event of the year, and there's so many people that are watching it that aren't interested in Xbox as well, that might make them be like, I'm gonna need to get an Xbox, or I need to go sign up for Game Pass, or I need to do this because I need to play that game.
That's why
right?
I don't agree with when people's sentiments that they're like, oh, Xbox should just skip the Game Awards. Like, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that's happening in the Game Awards. Like, I kind of talked about it already, but like, this is also the platform where it's the most watched award show in gaming, and this is a platform where if you do an amazing Xbox show, there still might be an audience that might not ever watch it just because they love PlayStation. So even if you do this amazing show and it's on the Xbox channel, people might be like, I don't want to see it. But if it's on the Game Awards,
because like if they're going to do a direct in early like January or February, like they're probably not going to double up on those games at the Game Awards and then the direct.
But I think they use the directs for the games that are coming out more soon, right? And maybe something like the Game Awards for like a bigger announcement, like something like a brand new thing that we haven't seen before or something like that. Because that's what they literally did with Hellblade 2. They did that with Perfect Dark. So they've already kind of had that mentality,
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know, they're gonna have their own dev directs. They're gonna have the Xbox showcase as well in the summer. You know, they'll have Gamescom, they'll have Tokyo Game Show, they'll have all these other things. But we'll have to find out. I mean, they literally showed the Xbox Series X at this event before, like for the first time. So that was their thinking. Last year was the only year in recent years where they didn't have something big at the Game Awards, right? So we'll see now. I mean, they've got to even have more games than ever before. Now, maybe last year was a sign of things, but kind of people were kind of on the money last year. I think that they kind of didn't want to show off too much because of this whole ABK thing. And like they were a little bit hamstrung. And we also know now that they also have an increased marketing budget that had come out recently. So with that increase in marketing power that they have, and you see them kind of come out the woodworks right after ABK closed, you know, they were doing stuff. They had the Sphere, you know, they had like different cinematic commercials. I think we see something pretty interesting there, and I don't know what it'll be. Nintendo, I think, kind of sits it out and gets the rewards, you know. They're gonna have maybe some little trailers and stuff, but like I feel like the big stuff they're excited for, they'll probably wait until they do like a Nintendo Direct that's kind of more focused on the Switch too. But I get what you're saying, Jasper. They could do something like what you said too. And then
they announced Zelda, I think, before the Switch ever was announced.
Did they?
And then
When
Zelda
did they
came out on the Wii U and then on the Switch?
Did they announce it at an event, or they announced it at?
I don't remember where they announced it, but I know Zelda was like known about before the Switch.
Well, when did they announce Tears of the Kingdom? Was that at the Game Awards or was it somewhere else? I remember seeing a trailer, I believe, at the Game Awards, but I don't know.
Was that at the Game?
It was either that.
I think it was just its own day.
Do you guys think? Because this is something we talked about with the Blizzard BlizzCon, where my theory for like why they didn't show certain games and stuff like that, or certain things they were kind of holding back. Do you guys think they show the survival game here or no? You think they would wait?
I think it depends on the rumor.
I just thought about this.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The thing Xbox is the biggest wild card for me. Because we already know so many of the damn games they're working on that they have in their bag, you know? Like, but then they have so many.
Because I thought they were going to show that at that stage, but then the more I thought about it, it would have overshadowed all the announcements of World of Warcraft having 4 expansions, the Diablo thing. Like, if you, if you did that, I feel like it wasn't the perfect stage for it. But
could have asked them not to show it.
Yeah, or that,
right?
Because we've heard so many rumors.
Else, yeah,
or it's farther out than people actually think.
I mean, that's possible too.
Yeah, but they've also announced games way far in advance before too, like even for Blizzard. You know, so
Blizzard, I mean they announced it, but then you have to wait like 4 years before you ever get a fucking trailer.
But that happens. I mean, that happens all the time. You know, that it literally does. Like,
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of that. I think both. I like when I don't mind games getting announced early with like a cinematic trailer, as long as like within a year and a half or so you show something else from that game, right? I don't like a game getting announced and then 4 years later you still haven't seen shit from it. You know, that's where I don't like it. It depends on what they do. Alvin hit us with a 5, says, I think people are sleeping on the show. Disapproval with the nominations is causing people to hope the whole show is a dud despite Keighley. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that from the Xbox community as well, like and just people in general that maybe just not a fan of him or the show. Personally, regardless, it's always an entertaining watch for me. The awards ultimately are not the reason I watch the show. I do like to see the devs actually kind of get rewarded and have their kind of big moments and stuff, but I watch because you don't know what's going to happen and what they're going to show. Just like any other game showcase, right? This is more or less like, as a viewer, for me, it's a game showcase where they give out awards. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
And then you get
I
your
talked
mid
about
concert and the mid show with the flute guy, and then you get the fucking
Yeah.
God of War actor to talk for 15 minutes.
yeah, I mean, I talked about this. It's just like someone mentioned in my chat, I forgot who it was, but they were saying like, would you go and watch the Oscars for movie trailers? Like, would you
If
go in
Marvel was
there?
going to show
Oh
up.
fuck yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
if
but
Marvel
they
trailers and stuff like that.
they do
And they
have
know that with
sometimes something at the Oscars, like a movie trailer or something too. They'll have like the people come up on stage and be like, "Here's a sneak peek at," you know what I mean? And they'll show like a
Honestly,
sneak peek.
I wouldn't watch the Oscars. I don't watch it now. Like,
Yeah.
I would just wait till YouTube and watch the fucking trailers after.
yeah. But with the Game Awards, I mean, like most people here, I watch it for the announcements. The title Game Awards, like even especially this year, I feel like a lot of what the decisions they've made it really discredits a lot of the categories and it being a legitimate show that they want people to take seriously, or they don't even pay attention to whether who they're nominating or what they're nominating. So I don't know. In terms of the actual award, is just like kind of bogus. I kind of have a weird sort of view on it because being in the developer space where you design this rock for this was my example in my stream. You design this rock for like 10 hours and then a player comes by and they're just like, cool. And then they
I
just
do think
walk past it.
this year
It's like
is
I appreciate that development.
this year is more important for the awards because it taught Jeff Keighley a lesson. It's just, is he going to act on that? Because he saw all the backlash for like Dave the Diver being an indie game, all like Hogwarts getting missed out. He's seen all that backlash, but is he going to make improvements on that? Because he usually tries to improve on every show, but
he hasn't ever really improved on the awards aspect.
No, the awards.
This happens every year
even
with
worse this
controversy
year.
with the awards, and like I see a lot. The only thing I see is a lot of stuff going on today and yesterday.
But it's like usually it's like one category or two categories at most. But this year it's every single fucking category that has a problem.
Right. I've seen all they see people talking about is that damn indie game thing, though.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I see. I actually just made a
And
tweet.
he doubled down on it. He didn't even try to be like, oh, sorry, next year maybe.
Because he's like, it's out of my hands. I just sent it to this 120 games media idiots that decide everything. It's not my fault. Yeah. So I made a tweet like, you know, everybody's talking about this indie game thing. That's like the least of the problems with the game awards.
That's just one.
You know what I mean? That's
literally...
like Hogwarts Legacy literally was not nominated for one thing, and it's like the biggest, best-selling game this year. You know, like that's not a representation of the gaming community and the video games industry. It's just not, you know. So there's other obvious snubs too throughout, and just weird categories and stuff. Ultimately, there's a guy that we already had a show talking about all that, like what they need to do to fix it. They got to kind of just completely change the way they go about the voting process and the panel thing idea they
How
have.
about instead of the media, which is clear that they aren't representative of the gaming community, they start getting developers from different
that's
studios.
what the Dice Awards is.
That's what the Oscars does.
I think it should be a mixture of them,
of media and developers.
media, like certain, and not like how they're doing it now, where they send it to the IGN or they send it to whatever, and it's it's all of our opinion combined into one or whatever. Like talking about certain people that are like prestigious within the industry in all different categories actually form a panel, but then maybe they have submittals submitted to them or whatever. I don't know how you can make it work, because it's impossible for those people to play every fucking game too. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the flaws. Like with the Game Awards, like there's just every game's up for consideration, right? So like you got to kind of narrow it down somehow to give people a chance.
Maybe
to actually,
per category.
Yeah, there's really not any but perfect way, but the way that it's now is like these people have proven that they don't even know what a genre is, you know, or a category or anything. So it just is what it is.
The thing I would like to see is like a thirds kind of mixture where you have the gaming media pick 2 titles per category. people in the industry from dev teams, studios, or platform holders and such pick 2 for each category, and then the gaming community pick 2 for each
The thing
category,
is with
and then
the gaming community and the public is it's going to be just fucking riddled with bots that vote, and it's going to throw off that number.
well, they could do like the same thing that they do with the registration now to kind of
You have to sign in to vote.
Yeah,
I mean, a sign-in is not going to stop a bot. I mean, people
Yeah.
make fucking fake Twitter accounts and shit for like
true.
porn bots. So it's like,
Yeah.
I really wish there was a way, although from a security standpoint, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but we have other apps that integrate with like your gamer tag or your PSN ID. Like it should almost be like, hey, you either create an account and link your Xbox, your PlayStation, your Steam, your Epic, your Nintendo ID to this, so that way, okay, but I would say that's almost something that should be a requirement for Metacritic as well. But have it where if you're all about voting for the games, then you should probably have played the games that you're nominating, kind of thing. And if it was able to look at your gaming history in some way, shape, or form, I mean, they have it where you can't really review something from Amazon unless you actually made the purchase. So why do we have the same, open format where it doesn't show a history of the game that you played that you're, either reviewing or rating or whatever the case may be?
Yeah,
Maybe the gaming media should also have it where although it wouldn't have to be public knowledge, but I almost feel that their gaming account should be linked as well. But that's a whole nother story.
Didn't they used to have like a Nintendo Game of the Year, a PlayStation Game of the Year, Xbox Game of the Year?
maybe on
Or
the
at least
server.
the most hyped game for that platform. Like when I was trying to come up with like that whole awards thing for the snubbies or whatever you want to call them, there should be a category for almost each platform. Although if you want to combine PC as one unified platform between Epic and GOG and Steam, I can't see too many people having a problem with it. But there should be like, the most popular game on Nintendo, the most popular game for PlayStation, most popular game for Xbox, and it's linked to those, players from those platforms to be able to, vote or write in a nominee or something like that.
The other issue, if you do the fan voting, it's just going to be the most popular, like our most played games are going to always win. So because it's just they have more fans, so like it'll bypass
Spider-Man 2 would be automatic.
all smaller fan bases as well. So it's like,
I mean, the problem right now is the media just goes towards the
looked
popular
up,
thing. So it's just like
The Spike
all
Awards
secret.
used to do that best platform award. Like for 2012, best 360 game was Halo 4, best PlayStation game was Journey, best Wii U game was Super Mario Bros. U, best PC game was XCOM. So
yeah. Oh, it's interesting. They could have like just go more like factual based, like best reviewed like Nintendo game, best reviewed like Xbox game, or best reviewed game of the year, or like best most played game. You know what I mean? Like they would have to change the categories instead of like of the year, mantra, because it's like so subjective, that it's always going to be so controversial. But there's no real right or way to fix it. I'm making probably really bad ideas right now, and that people would hate. So I do feel like the best thing to do though, ultimately, is get rid of the stupid esports stuff, the content creator of the year stuff. Like that's just like filler, waste of time.
Get rid of this accountability thing.
I mean, the
like,
problem with that,
oh,
though,
it
is,
wasn't
like,
me. Like
those only take 30 seconds anyway, so removing it's not going to change much.
Yeah, but you could probably fit some smaller categories and genres in that same time that still some other things get acknowledged for a little bit. You know what I mean?
I mean,
you could
you just extend the show 30 seconds to do that. Like removing because they do all the esports in like one segment, like the side host comes on, it's like best coach, blah blah, best esports team, blah blah, and then it's like over. So
that's true.
I was saying, like, I would get rid of the Jeff Keighley taking accountability thing where he just was like, oh, it wasn't me, even though he's basically running the show. Like can't keep doing that for every year. Is like, oh, sorry, I can't improve this because it wasn't me. Like,
Yeah.
if it's your show, there's certain things you need to improve on. You can't just keep placing the blame every single year on these 120 outlets that aren't really representative of the gaming community because they don't know what a category is. So, like,
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's another thought. Like the Oscars and the Grammys, they both have tons of awards that are given out that aren't actually on the main presentation stage show. Like, what if
Yep.
they have just a lot more awards that they give out for different categories that are voted on and all that stuff that they actually acknowledge in some kind of form, or like other winners are like, and they just have a scrolling thing and like best blah 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 blah, and they have like a lot more categories to actually be able to break up these genres and stuff more specifically and definitively and stuff like that, right? Where they can actually potentially even kind of cultivate more, like you were talking about Fuzzy, where it turned out we were wrong. There's just these media people just pick from whatever the fuck they want, right? Like, so maybe they have more of a cultivated large list to pick from, right? That does put things into certain categories for them, so you don't have stuff falling into weird genres and stuff like that, you know? That would be potentially an interesting thing, or if and you can have subgenres, all that kind of stuff, or subcategories that might allow for more representation and awards given. That would add maybe some more credibility. I don't know the solution, but it is what it is. But we do want to figure out a solution to this. Like I talked about at the beginning of the show. This whole Destin, Legary, all this Xbox tax stuff, all these things going on, all this stuff. Like there's one thing we've talked about for a long time is I feel like games media is just broken, right? It's not,
let us know, Matt.
It's not representative of the gaming community. They try to dictate what they think is right for gaming and the communities, and their preferences of the games media kind of get put out there, and it has an impact. It changes perception. It changes things. It affects the industry. It affects games. It affects the communities. It affects the success of games. It affects people potentially getting sequels. It affects the actual pay of the developers, all these kind of things, because these games journalists have some kind of an ultimate power right now, right? Like where they get to put out these scores, these arbitrary scores that get weighted so heavily, where all of a sudden now something is a bad game if it's not in the 90s. Like, it's just such a weird thing, right? And part of that's on the gaming community for having such an importance with these things and using them for console war and all that kind of stuff as well, right? But it's also like in Destin's video when he said, like, yeah, Call of Duty is a bad game, yet he also says that he's never played it, right? But he's taking the word of the review score as the fact that it is bad, which was decided by the games media, which actually has been contradicted by the actual Call of Duty community, saying it's the best multiplayer they've ever played, or not ever played, but they've played in a long time. But then he goes and points to those people saying that they are potentially biased because they have a vested interest in Call of Duty succeeding. So the games media can't be biased, but the community people are biased now because they want Call of Duty to succeed. Like, so anyway, like what I'm getting at is review scores ultimately are decided by people and that really don't have a say or are in touch with the gaming community altogether, right? So how do we fix this problem?
Got to improve those arousal levels.
Gotta improve those arousal levels.
I talked about this
first.
Yeah.
I just want to get my idea first, and then we'll go around and get some other ideas. Okay. So this would be a very controversial idea. A lot of people may hate this idea, but I honestly feel like this might be the only way to fix the whole situation. Now, it's also something that's never going to fucking happen because the industry is what it is, okay?
Shut them down.
If this happened, I feel like it could actually fix things. And I'm going to use Hi-Fi Rush as an example, okay? That game was shadow dropped. Came out to praise across the board from everybody because guess who decided it was good? The players, right? They got it right away. The reviews didn't come out till after the fact when these reviewers got to finally play it. Sentiment had already been decided. This game was fantastic, right? And I will actually go on to say maybe there's even some preference or bias there that if it was on PlayStation or other places, maybe it would even been nominated for Game of the Year. However, it wasn't, because a lot of people that vote probably don't even fucking have an Xbox. But there we were. That game got universally praised because that sentiment was like, hey, this is great, right? So this is never going to happen in a million years, and some consumers wouldn't like it because this could be seen as anti-consumer. A lot of times this comes out, a game doesn't send review copies out to our publisher doesn't send review copies out to reviewers because, and the automatic response from gamers is like, we're worried about that game because they're obviously trying to hide something, right? Now, for me, what if every fucking game did that? Right? What if they just flat out stopped sending review copies early to games media? The impact would be, in a way, gamers, we wouldn't have the advantage of what the games media is saying to get a judgment of quality or whatever, right? So there would be, going in more blind. But I'll say this, in this day and age, with all the videos out there, all the streamers, all the stuff you can find online, when people start playing these games, you can find probably what you're looking for, right? The second thing is, what would happen is the largest fan base of those games would be the ones that would be more interested in buying day one, going in blind, right? The rest of the community, if you can have some level of patience, can kind of sit back and wait to see what the overall perception is from the actual community playing these games without the influence from the games media interfering with that. The beat is already made from the people and the players that that are playing the game, that actually care about the game first, right? Games media takes their time, gets the review codes or whatever, comes out with the review. That player sentiment will then turn have more of an influence on them than in the reverse, the games media having early access and review scores come out that are going to in turn inherently have an influence on the players and the community. All of a sudden, perception saying a game is bad or whatever for whatever reason. It would take some patience from people to be, okay, what is the game's going to score? But ultimately, at this day and age, does it fucking matter? The games media has proven that they don't have any actual kind of right way of thinking when reviewing games in the first place. They have lost the ability for me to have any kind of bar or metric where what they say matters to the quality of a game. They have lost that for me. Like, when they keep propping up games that are broken and they disregard games that are not, or they blacklist games for social issues, or all these different scenarios. Are those the people? Is that the influence we want determining what games are perceived as good or not? I personally say, fuck them all. They can play the game when everybody else does. Let us, the gamers, decide if it's fucking good or not. And then they can put out their meaningless scores later. And they're going to be held more accountable by the players because guess what? We'll have already played this shit too, along with them.
But the thing is that the publishers and the game devs use the reviews and like early material as marketing. So
yes, that's why I said it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why it's never going to happen, right? Now, I mean, they could. I think they could still find a way to do that because they decide to do it for some games, right? So obviously they're willing to do it for some than others, right? So it would take. The other reason it's never going to happen is because it would take every publisher out there coming to the same idea that they're going to do this, and they're just not, right? There's going to be some publishers would do it, some publishers wouldn't. But I think honestly, it would be better for gaming.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that was actually something I was gonna say was the fact that like like Hi-Fi Rush was a good example, but I believe Doom, one of the Dooms, was an example where they're like, you know what, screw reviewers. I can't remember if it was Eternal or the first Doom, where they were just like, you know what, this is not indicative of us trying to hide anything. We are just going to release the review copies when you get it, when you get it, essentially, which is pretty much when the game comes out. I feel like that's a good mentality to have, just because of well, it can kind of go the other route, where with Starfield, where people got their review copies later, they're just like, they're punishing the game because, like, you made us. They made a whole article.
Yeah, that's the
like,
thing with
why
that,
we got
even
Starfield later.
Even
Yeah.
when Bethesda was doing that thing where they're like, we're just going to hold off on the reviews till the day it comes out, like the games media started writing negative hit pieces like, Bethesda won't give us review codes.
Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with them? So it's like,
So
Well,
that's just
but
another result
that
of
would
that
go away
tax.
though if
but-
it was every game, right? That would just become the norm. You know what I mean? So yeah,
If it was more consistent, yeah. If it was like Bethesda, this is what they normally do with their games, as not indicative
not
of
even just it is every fucking game. I'm talking about
every game. You're talking about outside of it.
game. And like Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation, EA, 2K, Ubisoft, every fucking game. Games media no longer has a privilege of playing games early for reviews. Now, I understand the journalists will be like, oh, that's going to hurt the consumers and all that shit. You guys fucking lie to us all the time in your reviews. You don't know shit in your reviews most of the time. Now, there's some great ones out there that would be hurt by this, obviously. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, I've lost faith in it. I've lost faith in games media. I don't think there's any actual way to fix it. Like, there's always going to be that influence.
Because it's the same people the past 10 plus years. So if you would want it to change, you would have to play.
The only way to fix it is not trying to fix the media itself. It's trying to fix the user that goes and seeks the media. You have to teach people to find their own independent reviewers and stuff, people that they like, and ignore.
That's never going to happen.
And yeah,
Just
like
because
that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen either, though.
Yeah,
like
just because IGN has placed itself in a casual market. Like if someone is I don't know, they're casually into Xbox or PlayStation, they're gonna check a review for a game like UFC or something. Like, what I wonder what they're saying about UFC. And they're not necessarily going to go and research someone like us, where we talk about why we like UFC or why we hate UFC. Where I feel like if it was in Mav's world, then that would be great, because instead of people going into perceptions of putting a game in a box of what the game should be, and then you play the game and it's not anything like that, where like people kept punishing Starfield for what it wasn't. They were like, oh, it's not this game, it's not this, and then they punished it for it rather than for what it actually was. Have people actually experience the game, and actual players are like, wow, this mission.
It's also from such a small section of gamers that actually have the power to influence the market so dramatically. And these are the same people that don't even know what these fucking genres and categories are. Like, that are voting for the Game Awards.
120 outlets that
I have no faith in that system. Like, it's broken. The people that are working for games media don't actually reflect the gaming community. But those are the people that are actually reviewing and have those power to be on Metacritic and determine all this stuff. And there was actually science, like Nerd Propellant on Twitter had sent me this stuff in DM, and I clicked on it. There's research and science behind all of these things. Like, these things have an impact. It has influence, and it actually mentally, subconsciously, will change your perception of how you would personally rate a game based on reading somebody's review, whether it's positive or negative. If you read a positive review, or if you read a negative review, and then you play the game, the same game, it's way more likely to leave negative reviews if you had read negative stuff. And that also goes to online at that point, where that influence that starts with games media, who puts these scores out first before these games are even released most of the time, all of a sudden you're starting with potential negatives or comments or things the games don't have, or games this is missing this. Then all of a sudden you have those talking points go into social media, and that spreads, and all of a sudden you have a negative context subconsciously, and then that influences the way you perceive your experience, even if the experience was the same. And that is the science behind it. And there's actual studies from universities and all this kind of shit into this influence of stuff with game reviews, right? So it has an impact to the industry in a major way.
I'm wondering how much like impact that, like, at least for like, I'll use COD as the example here. Like, I don't know how much impacts IGN review had like over actual COD performance, because a lot of people, I feel like, especially for COD, look towards like influencers like either Dr. Disrespect, Tim the Tatman, Modern Warzone, Charlie Intel, and they all praised the multiplayer, at least off the get-go.
I do think there's some games that are probably outside of the norm, Jasper.
Yeah, those people hold more power over
Madden,
what an IGN would say.
Right, I agree with that too. Like, you know what I mean? Like influencers, right? But that kind of goes to the same. That's still an influence, right? Somebody that is telling you it's great, so therefore you're going to think it's great. The thing that happens with game reviews is they get to tell us something is great or not great before anybody ever even has a chance to play it.
I think for me, the biggest thing I would like to see change is a universally accepted standard.
Yeah.
As far as how a game is evaluated. And I know it's not an easy request, but it almost seems like in a lot of cases, given that they have multiple people on staff, if somebody is a platform game player, like they're more into Mario or Psychonauts 2 or something along those lines, then go ahead and give them those games to review. Don't give them a racing game to review if they're not into that genre. Don't give them a sports game to review if they're not into that genre.
They do good bastard tutorials, so I said the game was shit.
Yeah, it's like, I think that's another issue, and I get it. There's time deadlines and there's staffing concerns and all that, but I think the rush to have their review either first or as early as possible to get the views and clicks is part of the problem. Like, it shouldn't be a reward to be the first one to get the review. It should be the more thorough review of the game should be the more of the review. But then that would, like what Jasper was saying earlier, you'd have to change the actual community that are pursuing these reviews at that point. And that's, I think, an even taller order to pull off. But there needs to be some sort of standard. Like,
it changes how they play the game too, right, Fuzz? Like, they get these codes like 2 weeks before, like, or what, embargo or whatever, and it's like you have to play a game like Starfield or something like that. It's like inherent, like you have to play the game in a different, unnatural way to what you would have otherwise.
I don't think it's actually as hard to change the actual community as you think, because if you look towards like actual political news, like no one trusts the fucking major news outlets nowadays.
Oh yeah, so there's you say that, but spend a while in my area here in the place that I live, bro. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's like, oh, that side of the news, they're all fucking batshit crazy, but this one, everything they say is 100% true. It's just like, you know, like, you would think that, but that's not how. That's, unfortunately, you know, people like you. Yes, right. I don't trust the news, period, like, at all. Yeah. Like, any of that. I just, like, but that's not, unfortunately, why we have a lot of shit that's going on in the country right now, right?
And it does suck for the people who are, and I said this before, but like, it sucks for the people, the journalists who are actually doing the work, who actually put hours in the game and are putting in all this time, because they're always going to be overshadowed by someone like IGN, or the way that people even see reviews. Like, IGN gave Starfield a 90 in Japan and all this different stuff, but none of those reviews matter in the Metacritic or review scales and stuff like that. But I mean, I do like the shadow drop mentality. If I was Xbox, I would do it all the time, knowing how they judge my games. I would just be
Yeah,
like,
the problem is if it was only Xbox, the media
Oh,
would
so
start.
we want to go back to the 12-month strategy. Got it.
What would
Thanks,
happen?
everybody.
No,
be like, bam.
no, but what would happen though? Like, eventually, like Xbox, if it was only Xbox doing it, they would start being punished by
Yeah.
the media for that, right? You see these things
Well,
happen all the time. Oh, we didn't get our review code in time, so we can
yeah, they
only
did
do
with
what we
Starfield.
can, and then they end up like giving it a shit review and stuff or whatever, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
But
So
it's like how much time, I mean, if you do on a consistent basis, then people will come to expect it, no? Like people over time came to like, do you remember when they announced the Series S and people said Series S held back gaming until the PlayStation did it? That was like a thing in the media for so long. Series S is going to hold back gaming, and then over time that message is over time.
I think
changed.
Larian just
I
shut the
feel
door
like-
on that whole conversation.
And Alan Wake.
Like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and Alan Wake. I think
I feel like if you do it enough, then people will be like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, nobody minds a shadow drop. So shadow dropping, but it's a different thing. If you hype a game and market it for 2 years and then don't give the early review codes, they get killed for it. Shadow drop is like, oh, cool, we got this fucking shadow drop, right? So like, if you shadow drop everything, it'd be interesting, but there'd be no fucking game show or marketing ever.
You have 30 fucking
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd just be like not gonna.
That's true.
Yeah, they would
You can't
be able to have
market.
showcases unless there happens to be a game releasing that day, and it would only be that fucking game. So it's like, it'd be, if they.
What if you
unless they
just don't give
market
them
it.
review copies? Like
That's
you
that's
still
what I'm
market
saying.
it, you trailer it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like, just don't give them
let's-
early. You can still give them codes. Just give them the same fucking day that we do, because the players are gonna get to decide. If the game, like, in that perception that will be spread through social media, the influencers on Twitch or whatever, like you're talking about, Jasper, the people that are more in touch with these games, that are actually more representative of the communities that they're built for, will then in turn probably have more of an influence on the games media than the games media having an influence on the casuals that are trying to decide what game to buy, right? So the only downside to that, there will be some games that just don't, like, let's say you have a game that has like a little bit of marketing, small team, small budget or whatever, right? And then like nobody's really looking forward to it. Right now, that game can get a place to shine because games media highlights it, because, oh, check out this gem we just got to play. Nobody's heard of this thing. It's amazing, right? And then all of a sudden, people get excited for it because, oh my God, this new game just got like a 93 on Metacritic. I've never even heard of this game. What is it? That happens sometimes, so there's downsides to everything. There's really not any perfect solution to it. I'm just sick of them having such an influence when they're so wrong so many times, and
Yeah.
like, I guess it's just my opinion that they're wrong, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of us feel that way about different games all the time. You know what I mean? So you can pick and choose whatever that's Starfield, or if it's like,
too much water in Pokemon.
yeah, or like
game about
anything,
water.
like, pick your favorite game where
Another
you felt
thing,
like it was
Last of
slighted,
Us remake.
and maybe that game wasn't as successful because of that negative reception out the gate, right? Pick and choose. Like, it could happen to any game and maybe we never got a sequel to it because of this happened, whatever. Like, that ultimately was decided by a small group of people that had that amount of influence. They've had the opposite effect as well, right? But they hold too much power in the gaming space. I feel like with other industries, it's not as much, like maybe movie industry, like somewhat. But I honestly think more people check out like user scores from movies, and there's not like fanboys.
The
that
movie
go,
industry is like, it's always like the opposite. Users either like the movie if the critics hate it, or the critics hate it and the users
exactly.
like
And
it.
most people
It's
like
always
just look at the
opposite.
user scores as opposed to critic scores, unless you have like really movie snobs or whatever, and they pick and choose who, like, turning the games media into movie type media, and that would take, like what you said, the community changing and how they perceive reviews, right? But
I don't think they
that's-
receive early movie.
yeah, they get screenings.
Yeah, they get early
Do they?
screens.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess they do. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
reviews come out early for a lot of those movies, and It has an impact on the success of them too. Sometimes, like
Yeah, I grew up on Siskel and Ebert back in the day, so it was like thumbs up or thumbs down, and they wouldn't always agree themselves between the two of them. So
Yeah.
I almost would want the gaming journalists to go more with like a thumbs up or thumbs down type of approach.
That's why
Yeah.
I hate the fucking rating scale. I like the buy, skip, or wait, or whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
just get rid of scores altogether. That would be another solution. Yeah, recommend or not.
Yeah.
And that's a good idea. I mean, maybe that's the right answer. Don't outlaw it with gaming because it's used as a tool too much for like negative.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good point. Or if you are so hinged upon it being 1 to 10, then add in the old GameSpot model, I guess, where you take into account each category of graphics, sound, if it has multiplayer, you take that into account, campaign, all that into like a complete package, and then rate it on that. Because if you did it with that rating scale in mind, it's not possible to have Call of Duty as a 4 out of 10.
If you do like the old scale where it's like graphics, art, sound, all that, and you rate it like that, even if it's like an 8 out of 10, you're still people are gonna look at that overall number. And numbers play such a huge part in like subconscious, and that's why like anything below a 9 is trash now, because people were like, it's got to be 9 or greater, because numbers like are perceived in that way, and it's like that's why the number scale sucks ass.
yeah. When
that's
you're shopping on Best Buy or Amazon, you don't sort for the 3-star.
You don't look for the 3-star.
reviews.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not that games media is broken as much as that the score system is broken.
I definitely think it's the score system.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a fair point, because the games like, so I'm trying to think, like, if I was to do, like, if we were to do reviews again, like, what would be a system we could do that would be interesting? Because all these sites got to come up with a fun and interesting way to differentiate themselves too, So it's like, you do like a smiley face for like a great game, and
do like the elementary school, like you get a stormy cloud,
right? Or let's say it's like fire, you know what I mean? If it's like an amazing game, or like a turd if it's like shit, you know what I mean? Like, we just have different emojis. Let's create an emoji system, guys.
Yeah.
And
there's extremely excited all the way down to
like sad cry.
Upset.
Yeah.
Then like eggplant squirt emojis, like 10 out of 10 or whatever.
Yeah. Emojis have got it. That's it. This is how we're gonna fix game reviews, guys. We have mark it down. The future of game reviews. Emojis.
Yeah. We solved it.
I'm actually surprised no one's already done that.
Maybe they have. We just don't know about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen people do the buy it, rent it, or
wait for a sale.
Or something. That works too, like, honestly, but it's hard. I guess
scale, though, it's based off like the person's like opinion. You have to kind of follow them for quite a bit to understand the stuff that they like and don't like. That's the only problem with the buy now, wait.
Well, so
yeah,
the other thing too, like Game Shark says, like, nah, media is broken too. Yeah, I get it. The thing is, like, I honestly don't think there's a way to actually fix that. I was trying to take the power out of their hands. That was my answer. Take the power out of their hands. That's the way to fix it, right? But thinking about it now, okay, so like you have a lot of, like I said, marketing and all these things and stuff that are playing. So maybe it's not the right answer. So what gives them the power, right? What gives them that power is the fucking score.
Yeah.
That's the power. So just take away the fucking score, and then Mr. Joe Blow's idiot comments that he makes throughout the middle of his review don't necessarily hold as much weight. It's just his own personal opinion. It's not judged based on a value system. You know what I mean?
And to the point where PlayStation even like will either fire their own staff or they will blacklist different media outlets that give them a bad score. So that would
Yeah.
like even, you know, kind of mediate that as well, that whole process.
Or
'Cause goodness.
you know what could help is Metacritic change their system to be more like Rotten Tomatoes, because like what Rotten Tomatoes does for the critic scores, right?
Yeah.
They have like certified fresh or right, and they apply a score to it, but all that score is a percentage of the reviewers that recommended it or not, right? So you have different. It's not an aggregate score, right? So like on Rotten Tomatoes, let's say like New York
7 out
Times
of 10
gave it
recommended
as
against 90%.
an 8 or whatever. All the reviewers have different scales, so you can't necessarily interpret those scales. So they do recommended versus not recommended, right? And then they take the percentage. So a certified fresh would be like a 80 something percent recommended, means 80% of critics recommended this, and that's how Rotten Tomatoes works for critics. And then users is like just their own personal score, it's aggregate or whatever, right? But
Even that though, like you could still have like a Jim Sterling and he's not going to recommend it. Like, and if you have multiple people like that,
yeah, but
then
his
it's still gonna be
power
broke.
won't drop it won't have as much influence. It's just like he didn't recommend it. Right now, his 4 impacts it more than a thumbs down would, or like a not recommended, because he's just one out of how many, you know what I mean? And then like,
Yeah.
so right now his 4, because it's so opposite of the others, right, is going to drop the whole thing a point, when before in the other way he's just like maybe 0.5% of the reviewers, you know what I mean? So
It
even if
affects the average overall.
yeah. So if you have like more people that recommend, then you're at like a 70, 80%, 90% or whatever. That's like most people recommend this game, you know? That's an interesting way of thinking about it. Like I think meta is
It wouldn't have
broken
worked for Hogwarts though.
because most of the reviewers would have not
Yeah.
recommended it. But it's got like a 80 something on meta.
The Hogwarts situation is so interesting. It just shows you the power of the media, where
Yeah.
most gamers loved it and then they hated it, so they refused to put it in points of conversation. That's kind of why I would want it to win player vote or whatever, just to kind of just to show them. But
Yeah.
there are other things in that category too. But yeah, the point system, either the point system needs to go. I don't know, honestly, I don't know any other way to fix video game reviews besides that, or changing the review scale. Like if he did do emojis, how does that factor into a scale that is primarily based on numbers? Or if the emoji of like happy is indicative of like a 90 or like 70 through 90 or something like that, then maybe.
The most common thing I see 3-bit out there is like from people that has been a consensus is a lot of people say that the scoring system is dumb, right?
Yeah,
so
it is.
Maybe that's, if most people are consensus about that, just like that's probably the easiest solution. Then
Yeah. Didn't they say something about like 7 out of 10s? Why they had like a meme of why they always do 7 out of 10s? I can't remember.
I don't. Yeah, they made a video about it or something. But it would be interesting to like if Meta can make some changes, because or maybe just like Rotten Tomatoes like form a gaming division and take the same approach there. Do they do game reviews at Rotten Tomatoes? Do they have a gaming section?
I don't know. I haven't been on there in a while.
Yeah, I mean it's heavily used by like for movie buffs and stuff, or the people that are looking up review score for movies. It's like everywhere. You look up like a search for a movie on Google, it'll have like the Rotten Tomatoes score, and the other one is IMDb score, which is just like the user score, right? But those are usually good metrics. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not gonna like it or whatever. But like, I know if a movie's like a 4, it's probably going to be a shit movie from a user score, right? But if it's like a 6, that's like, okay, some people are gonna like it, some people aren't, or whatever. It's so like give or take, But like for games, you see a 6, you know, it's usually not the same, right? Because it's
Yeah.
judged only basically by the reviewers, and user scores mean nothing in gaming. You can't
That's
fucking
why my scale is like when I do like 6 and stuff, everyone gives me shit, but it's like it's because the 6 actually fucking means something to me. It's not just a fucking
But that
Yeah.
that counts towards the inconsistency with like the way the game reviewers view things. Like your scale makes sense, but they don't follow that same like
Yeah.
sentiment. Like their 6 would be like probably your 3 or your 2 or something like that. And then sometimes their 4 would be your 6. So it's
yeah.
it,
It's so
I think
subjective.
a lot of those game reviewers just you shouldn't have an instance where a 4 for a completely busted game or one that has progression issues and bugs and needs a day 1, 2, and 3 patch should not be the same score as one that doesn't have those same concerns but just isn't living up to expectation, or maybe it's not, in the series of games it's somewhere in the middle, but it's certainly not, the worst of that series kind of thing. It seems like they give 4s based on feeling as opposed to an actual evaluation kind of
Right.
thing.
The
Yes.
quality aspect is out the window there.
That is my problem with it. Like you clearly Call of Duty is not on the same scale as something like Gollum, right? It's a 4 out of 10. You have a AAA studio where the gameplay, like try to have an indie studio make that game. Try to make Call of Duty. See what happens. See if you can make something that's similar to in quality of the gameplay and multiplayer to Modern Warfare 3 and tell me it's going to be a 4 out of 10. It's just like not representative of what the game actually is. You could say it's a bad game. You can even say it's the worst Call of Duty game. Even the worst Call of Duty game, I use this example with Halo. Even the worst Halo is really good. Even the worst Call of Duty is not a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So
right?
maybe
It's just like
maybe though, like more than just the individual scores is like just meta is the problem.
Could be. I mean, Nate Dogg, he's saying to me, I don't think an 82 meta dictates that they hated it. In my opinion, so you have people out there who say that the Xbox tax doesn't exist. I explained this on my show because of the great scores coming out of Forza or Halo but what that does is it doesn't really showcase the conversations that happen after those games release. Like what happens to Halo after the game is released. People say the game is dead, or what happens with Sea of Thieves, all these different games that initially get a good review score. Even with a Starfield, with the multitude of articles that come afterwards, like even if the game does release pretty decently scored with the Xbox, there's this weird thing that happens with like how many articles have come out saying Starfield, that why you shouldn't play, why you shouldn't enjoy it with Halo. Halo is dead now. We'll look at the player base, etc., etc., etc. So it's like, I don't know. Scores shouldn't matter, but it does change perception. It does change possibilities of future games. I wish in a perfect world it wouldn't matter. But
I mean, numbers just like play such a huge psychological impact on people. That's why shit costs $4.99 and not $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that throws me off. I see something $4.99. If I see something that's $5, I'm like, dang, I'm getting a deal. Even if it's not a deal, it's not a deal at all. Numbers really do pay the psychological picture with a lot of people.
Even what the number represents though can be seen differently. Like for example, if I see like a Rotten Tomatoes score where it's like a 60, that's 60% recommended to me, right? Whereas I see a 60 as in a grade, as a kind of like a grade for something. It's like a failing grade. You know what I mean? But like 60% of people recommend it just means like 60% of people might agree with me more or not. Like I you know what I mean? It's like holds different weight in the way it's like measured, you know? I don't know. It's interesting to see. I agree. Like score numbers are huge, and they do have a huge impact. But like, I think there's no getting rid of the numbers from all the sites because every site's individual. It can decide what they want to do. So like, if you look at Meta, who everybody points to, like an Open Critic or whatever, is everybody points to as like the grade for the game, right? Overall, because it takes all of them, the idiots and the good ones and all of them combined and stuff, right? If that was more of like a representation, like a recommendation versus grade, then that could be seen very differently.
Yep. Yeah, true.
It's broken. It's going to remain broken. That's how life is.
It is.
Hey, we're trying to help.
That's true.
Trying to help that.
That's true. Right.
We're on the board.
All right, everybody. We got some tidbits. This is Tidbits, a segment here on FSP where we look ahead at the games releasing for the week. And I don't see anything on this gray screen in front of me right now.
Let me hit play then.
See.
I don't see, hold on, I'm going to leave the activity and come back.
How is it always Mav? It's broken.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just broken. It's like broken. Try hitting play again. I'm going to leave and come back in while it's playing.
Okay, I'm just going to hit play.
Now it won't let me back in. Okay. Now hit play.
It's playing.
Okay, I'm gonna leave the Discord and come back in.
Okay.
Okay, unable to. Whoa! Look at all these errors.
Coming to the PS4 and 5 this Tuesday for $11.99. It's already on, I think, PC, Switch, and Xbox.
Okay, I didn't catch the first part of that, Fuzz. Sorry.
It's Calico on PS4 and 5, coming out Tuesday for $11.99, and it's already on Xbox, Switch, and PC.
Cool. This looks up your alley, Fuzz.
Every day is something new.
I mean, it would be a good game for a Steam Deck type of thing.
When my day begins with you,
Okay.
Like a little Animal Crossing thing.
we've got everything we need.
Like now you're a tiny person.
As long as I've got you and you've got me.
It looks pretty cool.
I just want to
Who's making this?
in with you.
We know the devil.
Peachy King Games.
It's called Calico. People are asking. It's PS4, PS5, $12. Yep, today.
Meow.
Out today.
PlayStation.
Okay. PS4 and PS5 only?
No, it's finally coming to PS4 and 5. It's
How
already been on
seductive
Xbox
it is
and
to live
Switch,
in peace.
Oh, okay.
There could have been a bloodless
Dude.
Arrakis,
Yep. Spice
The
Wars,
steady hand of
Series
my
X and
Duke,
S.
governing a confident
Today,
workforce.
And it's in Game Pass.
Plentiful house
Normally
of
retails for
trades, providing for the
$34.99.
whole Imperium.
If you want to buy it and you have Game Pass, it's
A
$27.99.
brilliant society,
Yeah, the Game Pass day one.
gracefully withstanding the red
If
wind
it's like
of
a
this
strategy
land.
type of game, you really gotta reel me in.
But we were not sent
Yeah, this is a 4X one, so it's a little more complicated than most of them.
This benevolent regime.
Okay.
Blood will be spilled. Rivals will surround
Yeah, this looks
this
dope, bro.
prosperous house, and violence will ensue. Unknown forces will emerge from this
Louis
bountiful
said
land.
the audio is low.
Yeah, I turned it down because it was like blaring.
Is it copyright
Live in
or something?
peace is a
No, there's no
privilege of
copyright.
the weak. And as our strength culminates, a new age of turmoil approaches. On this day begin the Spice Wars.
Good logo.
Game Pass day one. Let's go.
Mhm.
Nice. I'm looking forward to this one. Oh, Jerome.
Isn't this coming to Game Pass also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's coming to Game Pass. If you want to buy it, it's $29.99. Although I think you get the discount to like $27.99 for a purchase. They don't show the pricing just yet, but in Game Pass tonight.
And the dead.
Oh, nice.
It's like Tony Hawk meets Call of Duty.
Or Max Payne or something.
Did this already release on PlayStation before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on PS. Was it on PS Plus? Or no?
Yeah, it was. They offered it in PS Plus. They still offer it where you could buy it, but it was one of those just like Stray, where it was kind of free for a bit. Although I think it was like a limited play thing. It wasn't fully free. It was like free
Oh,
for
yeah,
like
yeah. Play days or
14
whatever.
hours or
Yeah.
something like that. So you could play the first 14 or 18 hours for free. If
It's
you
like
had
part of
PS
the PS Plus thing where they allow you to play demos. Like,
Yeah,
This is single player or multiplayer?
I think it's
It's
single
single
player.
player.
Okay. I thought it was like multiplayer. Demo.
Yeah, that game looks sick. I'm gonna play that.
Takes me back to my roller skating days.
Now this is an old one. The footage is actually Xbox One, PS4, but Biomutant is finally coming to the Switch.
Oh.
And current price for Switch is $39.99.
You put on
Yeah.
in the Twitter you
It-
said last minute delay.
It might be delayed, like it shows in the store, or it showed in the store earlier today to be able to download, but I'm getting word that it may wind up getting pushed back to February 14th.
Okay.
So if you're on your Switch and you can download it, I recommend it. Otherwise, you may have to wait until the middle of February or Valentine's Day.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
This is a good game. I think I really like the combat in this game. I hated the intro. I think they were supposed to change it though, or change some aspects.
Yeah,
of
they
it.
like turned down some of the dialogue stuff, I think.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't like the Elvis guy?
No, it just like
It was a long intro.
The intro is like you move forward 5 steps and stop. Move forward, like
Yeah.
the way the tutorial broke things down was just like way too much handholdy for me. Took forever.
Yeah, I forgot about this game. I remember the big thing was like the character creator and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you make your own little cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I do want to get back to it though. Gangs of Sherwood.
Mm-hmm. Now, this music is not supposed to be copyrighted because it's, I guess, part of their theme, just a certain character doing the same. This game looks interesting. It kind of has, from a combat standpoint, a little bit of like Hogwarts Legacy kind of look to it.
This is like OAuth, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like that Dark Alliance game.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's coming to PS5, Series X and S, and PC for Thursday at $49.99.
It's really cool how they're mixing it rather than like this steampunk futuristic.
I have a feeling this is going to be like a surprise hit kind of thing.
It'd be interesting to see how long it's last thing. Usually these kind of games, it's had no marketing or anything.
Yeah.
Alvin said he sold even if it's trash.
Hey, we got somebody. Gangs of Share.
The thing is that Hood Outlaws Legends game wasn't actually bad. It just nobody played it, so
Yeah.
you know. But this is different because it's like PvE. So, this is copyright, right?
Yeah, you may want to.
Is it?
This
And
one
it's
is
classical music, though, right?
Hitman
know.
Blood Money Reprisal.
Fuck it. I'll just let it play.
Is this also Switch?
Just Android and
just-
iOS.
It's a remake of Blood Money, but on the iPhone.
Such a classic.
Yeah, I really
Now,
like Blood
the
Money.
only thing I don't like is this is one of those. It's like $14.99 on the iPhone. So yeah, it's up there.
Oh,
Wow.
that's like $100 for a console game.
Yeah, like I could see a $9.99 or definitely a $4.99, but $14.99 is a little steep for that game.
Turok. Didn't we see this like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, this one got delayed last week, so when it was
Oh,
supposed to come out, it got pushed to this week. We've had a handful of games this year.
Last minute
where
delays.
it's like,
yeah.
oops. Yeah.
One of you must take up the mantle.
Wish
One
they
of you
would bring
must
back this
become the son
franchise.
of stone. One of you must become
This and
Game
Dino
is
Crisis.
looking
I will bear the burden
looking
of
kinda-
my fathers.
It looks like a new
Kinda
Switch
pointy.
game. What are you talking about?
it's looking kind of pointy is all I'm saying. Just a little bit.
What is this all about?
You don't like those triangle
None of
boobies?
this makes any sense.
Only on Lara Croft. Oh no, I really like the Turok series. It is cool that it's somewhat
Ready?
coming back.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Why
Always
does
down
it
to play
sound like they're
Turok.
talking into a
They are
styrofoam cup?
Because I don't think they did anything to the audio. I think they just.
I don't remember games ever sounding that bad though.
Maybe it was.
Now it's in stereo. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Surround
meant to be, like
sound.
heavy
Yeah,
compression
so
back
far,
to the
Lewis,
audio.
no bad logos. Been all good logos this week. Have no complaints. Yeah, well, that 3 is looking kind of funky, but we'll let that slide. We'll let that slide. Let's go.
Mr. Wade. We have much
What's
to
happening?
discuss.
Oh, this is Batman Arkham Collection.
Trilogy, yeah.
Oh, trilogy
Again?
and
On the Switch.
And for you,
Oh, I was like, they did this like 5 times.
you're all going down.
and it's $59.99 on the Switch.
59? What the fuck?
Yeah.
You still
Wow.
know how to make an entrance.
Welcome to the madhouse.
It looks that good on the Switch.
Today is the Joker's big homecoming, and
I mean,
I
there's
don't think they have the actual official video. Wait, let me double check.
Beyond your
I hope this is an indication that since they're porting this to the Switch, that they'll start porting the
This place is dangerous.
or fixing the Arkham
Like it.
Knight version for 60 frames. Next gen upgrade.
Ours.
over my dead
Daddy.
body.
I believe that was the idea.
I can have hope,
I'm not
Jasper.
sure. Now, I'm not sure if this is actual official Switch footage, but it was what Nintendo had loaded on their site, so we can only hope it looks this good on the Switch.
Don't be a stranger. You're always welcome here.
Yeah, if it looks like that on the Switch, then that's the best looking Switch game to date.
You really think you stand a chance against
This one is Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince, coming out also on the Switch this Friday, $59.99 as well.
Wasn't there a Dragon Quest game like last month that came out?
I forget what the last part of it was. But the Dark Prince is supposedly their latest one.
You are now cursed, unable to harm monsters. What? What the?
You're going to have to become a monster wrangler.
Only Dragon Quest I'm playing is Builders.
Dragon Quest Pokemon.
I really like Builders. That was the first Dragon Quest game I played.
Oh, right, it is Dragon Quest Pokemon.
Let's go!
Oh wow. I'd be surprised if that wasn't a Switch game. They're like Xbox. That looks like a Switch game.
The so-called hero is here.
I guess it
December
comes
1st.
out December 1st.
Oh, which one's that?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
Friday.
Steam World
And then
build.
last. Yep.
See all
For
those
PS4
stars
and
up there?
5, Xbox One, Series X
That's
and
where
S,
we'll
Switch,
live once
and
we escape
PC.
this world.
It's $26.99 or free in Game Pass.
I'll show you, huh?
I'm gonna play this.
Yeah, I played a bit of this on PC. They had
First,
a
how about we
demo
build us a nice little
in
town?
summer.
Okay, let's go.
We'll need the help of a whole lot of steambots to make sure we get all the resources.
How will we do that, Pa?
We're gonna find all we need deep in the mines.
Maybe that little girl's kind of annoying. I don't know.
This was the problem I had with the game. Like, I wanted to do the city builder stuff, and it kept forcing me to go down there.
No,
mines and do
I'll
stuff.
leave that to the
Right.
professionals.
Gotta earn your way to the fun stuff.
Basically, the resource grind for the topside stuff.
Yeah.
Oh no!
It
Monsters!
seems
What do we do now?
kind of
Let's
cool. I
build
would
a
actually check
self-defense.
this out. Is it kind of like you have to set your base up
What are
for
you
stuff,
doing?
and then people try to attack your
They're
base?
collecting pieces of our rocket.
In the demo I played, there was no, like, it never got to combat stuff, so I don't know how that actually works.
Real soon, hon. How about you search us a new home?
Hooray! I'll be at the observatory. I'll look for the nicest, best star. It will also have a movie theater, a roller coaster, and
Team World Build. Also December 1st. Logo's pretty cool too. Got good logos this week.
Interesting.
No complaints. Was that it?
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay.
Pretty good week for this time of the year, to be honest with you. Usually after Call of Duty is kind of a dead zone for a while. Maybe sometimes it's like one big release, you
I
know?
think Avatar's next week.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
looking forward to that one, actually. I'll be giving it a go.
Wait, did you do the Ubisoft Plus or no?
Yes, but I already actually just temporarily canceled it and ready to wait for the next game, and then I'll turn it back on. Because it was about to charge me for the next month, and I'm like, I'm not playing any of those games right now, so I'm just gonna re-sign up when I start playing Avatar.
Yeah.
So that way I get the most for my month
Oh.
or whatever.
I thought at first I thought you were talking about, I don't know why, like Discord or something, and that's why you turn your camera off and it's gonna charge you, so you turned it off.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
what I'm bringing.
Yeah, that's weird. You know, I have to pay monthly for this app that makes my camera
I'm
turn
turning
on.
my camera off.
Yeah.
Pay by the minute.
Turning my camera off.
It's called
Oh, man.
Camera Plus. It's $25 a month. It's just so damn expensive to have a camera.
It's made by EA, scummy bastards.
Imagine they start charging you for how long you use the camera. Oh, you got 5 minutes left.
Shit.
That would,
I mean,
suck.
are we pretty much describing Zoom right now?
Yeah.
I guess so. Actually, in a way.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
Hey guys, this was fun. Everybody, thank you for watching this episode of FSP. Let us know in the comments or whatever your ideas to fix game reviews. We laid out some crazy ass ideas, like just not allowing them to review games anymore, to getting rid of scores, to changing meta, all those kind of different things. Who knows? Standardized system as well. What's your ideas in the comments? Let us know. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. We'll have more fun later this week. Tomorrow is Fun Pop. Thursdays, PM in the PM. Fridays, Xbox Ultimate. Jasper, where can everybody find you, bro?
Yo. Check it out. Lore Jasper, Twitter, Lore Master Jasper, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, right here, 10 o'clock Eastern on the Fun Speculation Network for FSP, Fun Pop, and Xbox Ultimate. That's where I'm at. That's what I do. Check it out.
Right on, bro. Appreciate you. Fuzzy Belvedere, what about you, sir?
Thanks for having me. Always awesome being on here with you guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat for interacting with us. Greatly appreciate you guys checking us out. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Breakfast with Boom Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then later that evening for Xbox Ultimate, 10 p.m. right back here. Look forward to seeing you there.
Right on, bro. And 3-Bit. What about you, sir?
Awesome show, y'all. You guys can find me on Twitter at i3bit or on my YouTube channel where I did Ask 3-Bit today right before this show. So now I'm like, wow, I podcast a lot today. And that is also i3bit. And I'll be seeing you guys on Fun Pop tomorrow. You can find me exclusively on the Mav channel, the Fun Speculation channel. Been bought up by Mav. So pretty much on this channel.
He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't expensive, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks
That's
for being here, bro.
Appreciate y'all. Yeah.
All right. I hope you all have a great night. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.